Thank you as always, Nifemi. Well, crude oil theft in Nigeria is an issue causing significant economic and security challenges with losses estimated at millions of dollars annually. The problem involves illegal appropriation of crude oil and refined products from pipelines and other infrastructure and has led to reduced oil production and revenue loss for the country. Partner Energy and Chemicals leader at Deloitte, Mr. Olumide Esson, spoke to me earlier on the implications of this menace to the economy.
Vandalization in the Delta, it's continued, even though reduced in terms of the frequency, but then we've continued to experience these different issues, not just on crude oil pipeline, but also on gas pipelines. And so the danger is this: we've just concluded a raft of takeovers in the industry, Renaissance, Seplat taking over, Mobile producing, Chapal taking over for Miquino. These new owners ordinarily will be hungry to invest, but they can't invest if the impression they have is that, they're going to invest, replace aging infrastructure, and then we're going to have this infrastructure vandalized all over again. So it is not good, and it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed decisively if we would achieve what President has set for himself to achieve, 2 million barrels this year. Then quite a lot needs to be done in the area of security. We must secure these national assets.
Non-governmental organization Save the Consumers has condemned the 21% subscription price hike by MultiChoice Nigeria on its DSTV and GoTV services across the country, which took effect on March 1st, 2025, calling for an immediate reversal of the price hike while compensation be paid to subscribers affected by the repeated, according to the NGO, unjustified price increases and service deficiencies, and also calling for a full compliance with the directive of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, which has asked the company to halt any price increase. Executive Director of the organization, Dr. Aliu Elias, spoke to me earlier, wants the company to immediately halt the price increase.
There's a serious and blanket discrimination between Nigerian consumers and South African consumers. You agree with me that recently South Africa customers of MultiChoice actually enjoy a decrease in the price of their service given to them. Why in Nigeria we have 21%, there in South Africa they have 38%. Beyond that as well, they also increase some of their the channels for them. Also some add on a lot of benefits, a lot of user experience there in South Africa. But when it comes to Nigeria, they continuously discriminate us, reduce us, and exploit us, so to say. And this is what is actually making us to come out at this point in time, that we need to change our way of doing this. We need to actually let them know that this is this is a bad practice and it's affecting us. And the funny thing is that the MD in South Africa cited the singular reasons that there is a financial pressure affecting the household in South Africa, and that's why they reduces the prices. But here in Nigeria, we all agree that we have serious purchasing power problem. You have actually increased within less than a year. You have increased twice. This is our challenge, and we are calling on the regulatory authority, especially NBC, to find something to do to this. In fact, what we want more is that we want competition in that area, so that we will not go cap in hand every time begging for them to reduce or begging for them to actually give us a good service.
Well, outside our shores, Asian stocks stumbled today, dragged by sliding Chinese tech shares after a strong rally, while investors weighed the prospect of a narrower than feared U.S. tariffs and the dollar over near 3 weeks high after upbeat economic data. But S&P 500 closed at the highest in over 2 weeks, while a rally in the tech stocks led Nasdaq over 2%. Asian stock bourses initially left a rally looked set to fizzle out as MSCI's broadest index of Asian Pacific shares outside of Japan was 0.35% lower ahead of European Open. European futures were down 0.24%, S&P 500, Nasdaq futures inched lower. Hong Kong Hang Seng fell 1.8% as tech stocks led a broad sell-off as Xiaomi's $5.5 billion upsize share sales triggered concerns about stretched valuations across the markets. The Hang Seng is 17% this year, up, still best performing major stock market in the world, and AI bets after startup DeepSeek's sparkling debut. Well, President Donald Trump has announced a $5.8 billion investment from South Korea's Hyundai Motors Group in Lausanne steel manufacturing plant as part of the $21 billion, that's part of a $21 billion planned U.S. investment over the next 4 years. Now, according to White House, the South Korean company for a steel mill in the U.S. will create 1,300 jobs. The steel will be used in car and parts and plants in Alabama and Georgia, aiming to build 1 million cars per year. President Trump has already imposed 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, and broader tariffs are slated to go into effect April 2nd, matching whatever a foreign country is charging from the same products.
Report that Hyundai is announcing a major $5.8 billion investment in American manufacturing. In particular, Hyundai will be building a brand new steel plant in Louisiana, which will produce more than 2.7 million metric tons of steel a year, creating more than 1,400 jobs for American steelworkers. And then there'll be major expansion after that. This will be Hyundai's first ever steel mill in the United States, one of the largest companies in the world, by the way, supplying steel for its auto parts and auto plants in Alabama and Georgia, which will soon produce more than 1 million American-made cars every single year. The cars are coming into this country at levels never seen before. Get ready. This investment is a clear demonstration that tariffs very strongly work, and I hope other things also, but the tariffs are bringing them in at levels that have not been witnessed.
Samsung Electronics has announced the death of its co-CEO, Han Jong-hee, who died of a heart attack, leaving newly promoted and appointed boss Yong-hyun solely in charge of the tech giant. Mr. Han, 63, became chief executive officer of South Korea's biggest company in 2022. He is also in charge of its consumer electronics and mobile division services. Now, the Mr. Yong-hyun, appointed as Samsung's co-CEO just last week, at its annual shareholders meeting, followed its promotion in 2024 to lead its semiconductor division. Meanwhile, Samsung shares were down 0.5% in line with the broader South Korean market. Well, crude oil prices rose today for a fifth day on concerns on global supply will tighten after U.S. announced tariffs on countries that buy Venezuelan crude. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose to sell for $69.45 with an upward review of 0.49%. Brent experienced a upsurge of 0.47%, selling for $73.34. Bonnie Light sells for $78.62 with a price decline of 2.84%. And the OPEC basket dealers are offering $74.91 with an uptick of 2.43%.